things concerning exponents. We had some basic exponent rules that we talked about. The next couple sections are really going to focus on the negative and the rational exponents, what those things mean, how we might rewrite our problem, how we could simplify things. So do you guys remember, what does a negative exponent do? We even talked about this a little bit when we had our exponent rules.
It flips it.
It flips it. So if you have something to the negative power, it becomes 1 over that thing to a positive power. So for example, if I said like 3 to the negative 2 power, that becomes 1 over 3 squared, or 1 over 9. Likewise, if it were 1/2 to the negative 2, that flips it and becomes 2 over 1 squared, or just positive 4. So it doesn't have, it can be a fraction or a whole number. We just flip it. All right. Just as a refresher, another rule that we will use a lot today, if you have something being divided, what did we do with those exponents? Subtract them. And we did talk about that one, and we've used that one, but it's going to continue to be important today. The third piece that I want to discuss is, what does it mean if you have a fraction for an exponent? How can you rewrite that problem? Remember, what does if I said like 9 to the 1/2 power, what does that mean? You know?
Like square rooting.
A square root. So this can be written as radicals. The denominator is what's called the index on the radical. And then that m, that numerator, it can actually be written either inside or outside the radical. Both ways are equivalent. When we're doing that, the m over n has to be in lowest terms before we do this. So, if you had a 3 over 9 power, you would want to go ahead and reduce that first. But then we can turn it into a radical. All right, so let's practice evaluating some things without using a calculator. I mean, I know you can use a calculator, but eventually I'm going to be throwing variables in here, and then at that point the calculator's not much help anyway. So let's see if we can do it without the calculator to begin with. So if I said 10 to the negative 3, what does that mean?
Sorry, what am I
To the third. Okay, 10 to the third.
1,000.
You basically just add a 0 with each power of 10. Negative 5 to the negative 1. This exponents only touch directly, or what's directly in front of them. So the negative 1 is just flying to the 5. That other negative just stays out in front. So 5 to the negative 1 would be 1 over 5. So we get negative 1 over 5. Four ninths to the negative 2. So a negative flips it. Because it's already a fraction, it just flips the entire fraction. So it becomes a 9 over 4 to the positive 2 power. So then you just square the top and square the bottom. 9 squared, so 9 times 9 is 81. 4 squared is 60. So 81 over 60. M to the negative 4 power. So when we're looking at this, I told you exponents only touch what's directly in front. So that negative 4 is only touching the n. So the m stays by itself, stays where it is, but the n has a negative, so the n moves to the bottom. So m over into the 4th. The last one here is different because we see those parentheses tell us that negative 4 power is applying to everything inside the parentheses. So that's both the m and the n. So they both move to the bottom. Or we know rules of exponents, you could take that 4th power to each of them. So far, so good? Let's go a little further. So let's start simplifying some uglier looking things. So first, if I didn't want to grab a calculator, I would have to do something with this. But you notice we have the same base of 15 on both top and bottom. So rules of exponents, what can I do with those exponents? And 8 minus 3 is 5. Do 15 to the 5th for me. Grab a calculator. I'm sure you can't do that one in your head.
It won't work well. 'Cause it'll only have
33.75.
Okay. Okay, so what did you get?
33.75.
Are you sure? I feel like it should be.
Oh wait, oops, I did the cube.
Yeah, I was gonna say it should be much larger.
I got 759,300.
Oops. My bad. It's-
In general, like if you had 15 to the 5th, I'm fine with you leaving it like that. You know, if it's something small like 15 squared, 2 to the 4th, you know, if it's a nice number, you can go ahead and multiply it out. The homework for this section is going to be Math Excel, and it will tell you to leave it in exponential form or to go ahead and simplify the number. So just remember when you're doing that Math Excel, it leaves the box for you to type your answer in, and underneath it'll tell you how it wants you to write your answer. So make sure you do that. Alright, B. So there's a couple options for how to start this one. What do you guys think? What could we do? We could get rid of the negative first. Okay, if we do that, we have a y to the 4, y to the negative 9. So that negative would bring it up to the top, so then it becomes times y to the 9. And when you multiply, what do you do with those exponents?
You add.
So 9 plus 4 gives y to the 13. So a lot of people always prefer to start by getting rid of any negative exponents, and that's fine. The other option, you could have said, well, I'm dividing. If you're dividing, what do we do with the exponents? So you get 4 minus negative 9, which also gives you y to the 13th. So just depending on which route you take, you get the same thing though. So this one, I need to rewrite. I want to simplify as much as I can, and my final answer can't have any negative exponents. So start with the coefficients, 35 and 25. What could I do to both of those? Divide them by 5. So 35 divided by 5 is 7, 25 divided by 5 is 5. All right, what do you want to do with the r's? Okay, so you're thinking 6 minus negative 4. So that's an r to the 10. So 7r to the 10 over 5. D. So looking at the numbers, 34 and 51, what can we divide both of those by?
Oh, wait. 7.
What does it reduce to? Two-thirds. You divide them both by 17. 34 divided by 17 is 2. 51 divided by 17 is 3. So it's a 2/3. All right. Look at our variables. A to the 8th over a to the 12th. Where do we have more? On the top or bottom? Bottom. So it ends on the bottom. And then you subtract your exponents. So 12 minus 8 is 4. So we have an a to the 4th on the bottom. With the b's, b to the 11th over b to the 6th. So we have more on top, so it'll end on top. 11 minus 6 is 5. Let's try some more. Lots of different places to begin with this. Let's just start with the parentheses first. What do you do when you have a power on the outside like this? Multiply. We distribute it to both and multiply the exponents. So negative 1 times negative 3. My x, I have 4 times negative 3. Negative 4. I'm going to go ahead. 2 to the 3rd is 8. So then if I multiply, all this is multiplied together, so we can do it in any order. So if I multiply my numbers, 5 times 8 is 40. X cubed and x is negative 12. What do you do with those exponents? Since the x is written each time, we add those exponents. So 3 plus negative 12. And then final step. So that x to the negative 9 would move down. So you have 40 over x to the 9. I don't. You guys try B. And if you get done, you can try C. If you get stuck, C is a little more complicated, so we can go through that together if we get stuck. 45 divided by 15, so that gives us a 2/3. The R's, we have more of them on top, so it'll end on top. 4 minus -6 gives us 10. S's, will that end on top or bottom? Bottom, we have more, so you do 3 minus -9. So that's to the 12th. Looks like we did pretty well with that one. Let's look at this second one. It is a mess. How do you want to begin?
By the exponents.
Okay. So this is like a 4 to the first. So if you multiply the exponents, you get 4 to the -2, b to the -6. This is another 4 to the first, so that -3 has to go to the 4 as well. So 4 to the -3, b to the +3. On the bottom, we get 4, -1 times -4 is +4. 3 times -4 gives us a b to the -12. Okay, some people like to flip and get rid of all the negative exponents at the beginning, so that's also an option. I'm going to keep rolling with this strategy. So on the top, if I combine 4 to the -2 and 4 to the -3. So since the base is written each time you add those exponents, you get 4 to the -5, b to the -6, and b to the +3 would give me a b to the -3. Alright, you might be able to just simplify from here. If this is confusing for you with so many negative exponents, you are welcome to rewrite it. So this 4 to the -5 would go to the bottom. The b to the -3 would go to the bottom. The 4 to the 4th, that's a positive, so it stays. The b to the -12 would go up on top. So you don't necessarily have to do that step, but it can make it a little easier if all of the negatives are confusing for you. So then, with our b's, b to the 12th over b to the 3rd, so 12 minus 3 is 9. With our 4's, when you multiply, you add those exponents, so 5 plus 4 is 9. You could multiply out that 4 to the 9th, it's going to be a rather large number, so I would probably just leave it like this. Questions? We are not done with this section, but I think I'm going to go ahead and stop here for today. We have about 10 minutes, 12 minutes. There is a Math Excel assignment. You'll notice it's not due until Thursday because tomorrow we're going to finish this section. So it's the assignment for today and tomorrow.
Oh, it's Tuesday.
Yes, it's Tuesday. But you have some time now to get started on it.